Mr. Peck was my history teacher. He called us stupid little punks. He said we'd grow up to be garbage collectors and fake nail practitioners. And talking about nails, he grew his long and dirty yellow, filed to a point. I heard he died, and I think of his nails still growing as he lies in his coffin reeking of cheap perfume. Mr. Rupert was my art teacher, and he used to make us draw a still life of onions for hours on end. He had a handlebar mustache big enough that birds could perch on it. And if we weren't quiet, he would scream as loud as he could. God damn you all while banging a long metal ruler on a desk. Mrs. Miller was an English teacher that would pick the food out of her teeth all the time. She stuttered and made us read Shakespeare. If you didn't know the answer to her questions, she would call your name with a rhyme. Gina the Mina. Larry the Scary. Jana the Banana. Insane Jane. You get the picture. Mrs. Shelley was my geometry teacher, and her hair was big and looked like something from the 80s. She wore big dangly earrings, and she drank a protein drink that made her breath smell bad. She wanted us to get into the zen of math, which we could care less. Mrs. Lobo was a biology teacher who was cross-eyed, and she was just plain mean. She taught us sex ed, and she said indoor plumbing is better than outdoor plumbing, referring to our genitals. Then she'd hand out condoms to us, which we were too young to use. Mrs. Sanders, a homeroom teacher, would promise us cookies if we finished the assignment she gave us. Then she'd fall asleep on her desk and snore like a pig. She'd wake up in a daze and tell us she ate all the cookies at recess. Mrs. Whitehouse, my third grade teacher, wore heavy makeup and black lace bras that we'd see when she'd bend over to help us. The boys in the class played dumb just to get a peek. Later, we found out she was sleeping with the principal, a man twice her age. Mr. Bassa was my algebra teacher. He looked like a lizard. He would get so involved with the mathematical problems on the board that he wouldn't turn around no matter how loud we got. The class went crazy. And when he'd get close to the girls, he would get a bulge in his pants. He gave the girls all an A on their report card. Mrs. Johnson would just break down in tears in front of the class. Nobody knew what was wrong with her. Later, we found out her husband left her for a man. Mrs. James was my French teacher, and she insisted we speak only French in the classroom. We found out she was a mail-order bride. Her husband was a veterinarian, and they owned like 13 cats that were pictured on her desk. Her refusal to speak English led us to believe she couldn't speak English. Mrs. Josie was an old hippie. She made us rearrange our desks into a circle so that we could feel each other's auras much better. She had so many boring stories about the 60s and what a big deal Woodstock was. Make love, not war, she'd say. My 7th grade PE teacher, Mrs. Buckowich, told us our bodies are blossoming. And signing up for cheerleading practice was one of the most important decisions of our lives. She also told us to wear a bra or your boobs will jiggle too much, and the boys will say, "Can I get fries with that shake?"